watch it. Let's go. Okay, guys, tonight's call, we're gonna talk about and this is gonna be a quick, brief call over the next probably 20 minutes or so because we are going to church tonight. We can't be here all evening, but I did want to talk about, I was actually gonna do this next week, but I was like, man, I'm so fired up. I'm so passionate right now. I'm so convicted. I didn't want to wait until next week and then lose maybe some of this fire I have. And who knows, maybe the fire is just gonna double, triple into next week. But I couldn't wait. I had to get this message out. And my hope and my prayer for tonight is to one, challenge your beliefs, build your beliefs, strengthen your faith, and just shift your perspective, man. I wanna continue to just put fuel on the fire, continue to get you on the right track. Life has a way of knocking us down, knocking us off of the feet that we're on. It's constantly bombarding us with challenges and hardships and distractions and just getting and filtering, doubt and discouragement in our hearts. And these are calls where it's that safe haven, it's that place that you can go where you can be in an environment, you can be in a space that's just going to pour life back into you and drown out the things that are trying to tear you down. So that's my hope and that's my prayer. So if you're here with an open mind and an open heart, ready to just receive, I hope that you receive a breakthrough, and I hope that that breakthrough leads to some transformation in your own life. And so I do want to discuss and talk about and give some real practical examples. If you know me, we've had conversations. I'm here for the long term. I'm here for lasting success. I'm here for the infinite game. I'm not like we all have problems that we've been maybe dealing with for the last 5, 10, 15 years. And we come into a space like trading and investing and we're trying to, flip an account or over leverage and try to see some quick success. And we get burned because of it. And we're trying to, I'm not saying to you guys all on this call, I'm just saying we have those thoughts sometimes and we hear from other people, social pressures and things like that. And we're trying to solve a decade-long problem right away. And it's going to take some time, and not just the financial results, the physical results, but you as a person, man, we've got to develop, we've got to mature, we've got to grow and remove the beliefs that no longer serve us. And that's really what this battle is. If you guys, you've been here for a few months now, you've been here for maybe a few years, you've recognized that this is so much more, so much deeper than just making some money. This is really character development. This is really about replacing those beliefs, refining your heart, getting those impurities out, and building the right way, building a version of yourself that can manage and sustain the results that we're here for. So I want to ask, just to kind of provoke a question here, and you can type it in the chat just for time's sake. But in the last month, you guys can kind of write in there, and I'll read it in a few moments. But in the last month, what is just one thing top of mind, should be very easy to access. In the last month, what is something that has been difficult or challenging for you when it comes to your trading process, your trading career, your trading journey? What is something that has been difficult or a challenging for you, hardship, maybe that roadblock, that obstacle in your way? What is something for you? Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna read these in just a second. I'll share some of mine as well. And I'll tell you, there's nothing like being honest with yourself, but being honest and open in a public environment. And this is,
I
this,
loved your prayer for us to
what's up,
start off.
Sam? What'd you say?
Oh, my bad. I was just like, my bad. I didn't think my mic was on. Sorry about that.
No, you're good, bro. All good, all good.
Uh,
Um, what was I saying? I forget what I was saying. Oh, being accountable. That's where I was going with this. It's one thing to be open and honest with yourself, but it's a whole other thing when you can be open and honest in a community. And this community here is here to lift you up. It's here to elevate you. Nobody's here to condemn you. No one's here to cast shame or guilt or anything like that. We're all rising tides raise all ships, and we're all here to elevate one another. And the more honest you can be, the more coachable that you are, the faster you can get over yourself and onto the next thing that's in line for your growth. So Jake said wanting to be profitable quicker. Relatable. Absolutely. Josh says setting stop loss and take profit parameters. Okay, love that. We can get into that as well. Jake said rushing the process. Chris says prioritizing time after working or prioritizing time after school. Next class. Okay, I got you. Kind of that time management, self-management. Okay. Dustin says been taking trades but not reviewing. Very relatable. Alex said trying to force a trade, 100%. Gerald said time and not holding my trades. I love it. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I know it's not easy to kind of be open and discuss where you're at, but I can tell you, you're not alone. I promise you, there's somebody on this call that can probably relate to what you're saying, is going through something similar, or could help you because they've been there before. I'll tell you right now, for me personally, I went through a period that I'm overcoming right now, where I'm getting to this next phase of my trading, and it's coming off of a winning streak. I had a 7 trade win streak, which is incredible. But I caught myself just like kind of being like too conservative. I didn't want to ruin, like I saw myself with the temptation and the thoughts of not wanting to ruin my win streak. And Jake and I were talking the other day about this, just that random distribution, how our trades, wins and losses doesn't matter. It's a sequence of randomness, and just constantly reminding myself, bringing those core principles to the forefront, and just knowing that it doesn't matter that I had 7 losses, or sorry, 7 wins back to back, because every trade is a reset. That's what I've started to just bring myself back to reality of, like, Abby, you're not those wins and you're also not those losses. You're not wrong and you're not right. It just is what it is. And you just got to move on to the next. And that's whenever I put my notes down after I document a trade and I do my journaling and my review, the thing that I'm always writing is just a reminder. It's now just like that unconscious competence phase where it's just, I'm that's how I'm operating. It's that on to the next mentality. And I'm constantly just writing that after every note I put in my trading journal, on to the next, on to the next. Whether I've won, whether I've lost, it doesn't matter. I don't take it personally. I'm just following my plan. I'm just doing really good trade management and execution. And so we're going to talk about it. So thank you guys so much for sharing where you're at. We can kind of discuss further and maybe open up to like actual questions at the end. But let me ask you guys, and you can type it in the chat. And maybe it's both. Maybe it's both for you. I'm both. I want to do both. Um, but where are you guys leaning more towards? Are you more towards trading or investing? For me, it's both. I want to invest, I want to have a portfolio, and I also want to have an account where I'm able to leverage trade. Both, both, both. Okay, awesome. Awesome, awesome. So, just to give you guys some perspective, I know we all have different memberships inside of the academy where you're plugging in with, you're tuning in with. I will just give you some 2 cents from my personal experience and just having a plethora of conversations with the educators. I was fortunate enough, literally a week ago, I got to speak at one of the trade lock-ins that they had out here in Arizona, and I got to have conversations with a lot of the just students that were there that are inside of the academy, and then also with some of the educators as well. And it was pretty cool to just kind of have those conversations, those discussions, and just see things and hear things that I wasn't even aware of or in proximity to, or like I only got awareness because I was in proximity. And I'll share with you guys, if you want, you can do trading on crypto. And I would say, if you're going to do trading on the crypto side only, you should be on the live analysis sessions, or you should have a really strict plan when it comes to using swipe coin. Okay. That's what I would recommend on the crypto side. But I do recommend, when it comes to trading, you should have access to the Forex side. There's a seamless pathway for you to leverage a tool. learn a strategy, get the in-depth understanding that you need, not just on the charts, but the psychology that's necessary, that's required, that you will get on the Forex side. And trading is that more active thing. You're doing it on a day-to-day basis, weekly basis. Forex is your go-to, the Forex Academy. Now, crypto and stocks, I will say, obviously, like, yes, we can trade on the crypto side. But I would say if you haven't built an account to 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 and beyond, you should start with Forex unless you have a lot of capital to play with, okay, on a live account. But crypto and stocks, investing, wealth creation, it is going to be a more passive journey as you're plugging in. So I want to just kind of give that awareness and also set good expectations. So as you're plugging in, you know what to expect. You know, like where your attention should be and how you should be showing up, how you should be approaching what you have access to. Okay. And if you have any questions, we can talk about it. If you want to ask at the end or message me on the side, we can go through that together. So I want to say this really quickly, and then I want to share some things that I think will help when it comes to duplicating your success and just outlooks and perspective. Not just with trading, you can apply this to trading, obviously, but just in life as a whole. But I think sometimes we can become numb and desensitized to what we have access to. And we kind of just let life be life. And that's the reason that attitude, that heart posture, the way that we show up in that way, that's the reason why we still are where we are. And I'm telling you this because I know this. I've lived this. I've seen this for myself time and time again. It's the subtle things, man. It's the little things that compounds over time that's going to make or break our success. That's going to determine if we actually see the fruit of the compound effect, if we allow the math to run its course. And so, what I'm saying is, we have meetups out here in Arizona, which I'm so fortunate and grateful for. I think Nancy's on here too, or maybe, yeah, she is. Nancy's always showing up to those meetings. She's taking advantage of the time that we have together at those meetups. We've got calls like these typically every other week. You guys can tune into, and then obviously the go live sessions. Any ounce of environment that I can. This is like my mentality, and I've learned this from the educators and my mentors. Any ounce of opportunity that I have to plant myself in an environment where I can be in proximity to people elevating my belief, strengthening my faith, getting me in the right mindset, and drowning out the doubt, the discouragement, the negativity, the things that are infiltrating my heart and causing me to feel discouragement and defeat. I need to be in those rooms. And you get to that point where it becomes a non negotiable when it starts to become who you are. You can't, when we just do things out of, I want change, so I'm just going to do the things. I'm just going to do the things. You can't just do the things and then expect change. You have to literally become that person. How do you do that? From repetition. You got to get to a point where this becomes, it's not just important, it's urgent. And I was telling Alex this earlier today. I was like, man, I found myself scrolling like a dummy on my phone, and I literally felt drained and exhausted after coming off of social media. How many of y'all can relate to that? I felt so disgusted. Like I needed to go take a shower or something. Like I needed to get that off of me. And I was like, I'm doing this because whatever else in my life is not as urgent for me to pay attention to and lock in. And I know this has nothing to do with the charts, but I can tell you it has everything to do with your success here. And so some of you guys may need to hear that. Some of you guys are like, I've got it locked in, Abby. I know that. Okay. I just needed to get that out. I just needed to share that. Maybe it was validation for somebody. Maybe it was confirmation. Maybe it was, I don't know, a reminder, a reset for you. Okay. But I know that I'm going to be bombarded with distractions. I'm going to be tempted with doubt and discouragement. And I've got to, in every way possible, drown those things out, especially if you're new, if you're within your first 6 months, your first 12 months, your first 2 years. Yeah, you're learning something completely new. What you're actually doing is you're completely rewiring who you are. That's what this journey is going to do, because all those beliefs that you had is not serving you. It's not allowing you to get the results that you've been wanting, and you're literally going through a rewiring like journey. That's what this actually is. And when you can recondition yourself to think a certain way and have a belief system, because that's how we win in trading is we have a system that we follow time and time again. We have to have a belief system that is operating from a place of like I can literally create success because that's just who I am. I've been programmed that way. Many of us are programmed a certain way right now, and that's why we're reaping the results because of the way that we think, the way that we show up, the way that we operate. We don't even realize that we're speaking an abundance of excuses. We don't even realize that that is what is filled in our hearts. Like we are literally a walking, talking limitation. We are putting limitations on ourselves and what's possible. I can't afford this. I can't do that. I don't have time for this. This is like I'm literally speaking that out of the mouth is whatever the scripture is. I forget. You speak the heart. Whatever's in the heart comes out the mouth. Okay. We don't even realize like that's actually who we are. So I have to constantly be guarding my heart, protecting my mind, positioning and planting myself in the right places, my eyes, my ears, my mind, what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm believing. Like those are the things that we've got to pay attention to. And another thing too is through this journey, and I'm going to show you guys my results that I've gotten from the scanner just in the last literally month. It's crazy, but I want to just share this with you because I think this is I think even more extremely important than just seeing results. Results are going to build your belief, but this is going to help with your overall perspective. You got to control what you hear, you got to control what you see, and you got to control what you're taking in, right? As far as like what you're interpreting, like your beliefs, okay? The stimulus, your ears, your eyes, and your mind. Your ears, your eyes, and your mind. I've got to control what I hear so I can control what I believe, so I can control what I say. I've got to control what I hear because faith comes by hearing the word of God. I've got to control what I hear so I can control what I believe. Our belief system is operating on autopilot. It's controlling the way that we think, the thoughts that we repeatedly have and act on, which is obviously dictating our results. So I've got to control what I hear. Who am I listening to? Who's in my ear? What am I listening to on this thing, right? Who am I plugging into every single day? Am I just shouting from the rooftops whatever I'd like on social media because I'm bored and I don't have a schedule? I'm not following my schedule. Like, what am I doing? Who am I listening to? That's controlling what I believe, what I'm interpreting, what I'm taking in, which is controlling what I say because it's all filling up in your mind and your heart. And the one thing that I wanted to share with in regards to that is as you go on this journey, you're going to obviously go through hardship. Like you got to accept that. If you haven't accepted it already, like it's not a problem that you're going through difficulty. Okay. I think that's one of the biggest things that I probably like have accepted throughout my journey is when I have losses, it's not a bad thing. When I go through problems, it's not a bad thing. I think we've been so conditioned that being wrong, right? Being wrong is bad. But it's not even about being wrong or being right. It just is what it is. But when I'm going through problems, you have to recondition the way that you see that as it's not a bad thing. It's not I'm wrong. It's not an identity attack. It's none of that. There is going to be continual testing along this journey. I call it a journey. I call it a career. It's not just something I'm trying out. It's a long-term thing because it's not just about making money. It's about becoming wealthy. If I have a goal to lose weight and I lose that weight or I build that muscle, my journey is not over. I don't just stop working out. I don't just stop eating well. The goal is to be healthy. Same deal here. And I'm going to continue to invest into myself because I'm the most important asset. I'm the shit, man. Like I'm the rudder. Like I'm the one that gets me to the next level of my results. You guys get what I'm saying? So there's going to be continual testing because your faith is always growing and maturing. Your faith is always growing and maturing. And the only way for your faith to continue to grow and mature is through testing. I said this the other day. If you guys saw it in the chat, James chapter 1, verse 2 says, consider it pure joy whenever you face trials of many kind, because it is the testing of your faith that produces perseverance. So don't shy away from the trials. Don't shy away from the problems. Don't shy away from the testing because through the testing you can count it all joy that you're going through those trials because of what it's doing inside of you. You're developing the patience. You're growing and maturing in your discipline, in your consistency, in the fruit of the spirit. All of them, self-control, the whole list. So what I hope you get from that, do not shy away from the tests, from the problems, from the challenges. It's not a problem. You're the solution. And it's just in your perspective. And so, okay, let me move on. We cool, we here, we good. I want to talk about this next part and this last part, actually having a trading plan. Okay. And I'm going to share my screen in just a second so you guys can actually see like visual what I'm talking about. Type a and I'll show you like two or three like different points of where you should be. You guys have seen the trading roadmap. I've shared it with you guys before. I'll drop it in the chat again if you haven't seen it. But there are different phases that you're going to be in inside of this journey. There's like four phases. I'm only going to talk about a couple right now. The first phase is obviously you go through the basics, but you're on a demo account. And what I've seen time and time again is people not getting out of a demo account. Like they're there for way too long. Okay. When you think about time, I've been here for a year, I'm still on demo. And it's not because I can't, it's because of what have I been doing with my time. Okay. Going back to it's not even time management, it's self-management, it's priorities, it's that sense of urgency, what's important. Okay. So I've got my demo account. And so what's the purpose of a demo account? Write this down. The purpose of a demo account is for you to figure out, okay, and if you're watching the educators, you should be able to see this from their strategy, is to understand what the strategy is, okay, and be able to know. So number one, be able to know that the strategy works, which it should. You got to just test it. And then secondly is how well do I work the strategy? It's a two-way street. The strategy works. Okay. It's not that the strategy doesn't work. You just have to see it. You have to build your belief and actually come to terms and agreement that this works. Okay. And then the second part is you actually work the strategy. Like you can execute it well. There's this execution and management portion of the strategy that most people can never get past. It's like, cool, I've got my strategy. I've done it for 2 weeks. I've done it for 30 days. I've taken this many trades, but I'm still not profitable. And we don't review, we don't go back, we don't try to figure out what actually happened. We just look at, I lost all these trades, or, I've got these big wins, but then I have all these losses that canceled out my wins. And we don't ever understand why. And that's data, man. Like all we're doing on a demo is collecting data. And it has nothing to do with your personal value or self-worth. It has nothing to do with your identity. It has everything to do with what are you actually doing? And it's going to reveal to you your beliefs. Do you over leverage? Are you greedy? Are you anxious? Are you rushing the process? All these things. So on a demo account, you're supposed to be collecting data. My strategy, does it work? Have you built the belief that it works? Okay. And do I work it? Well, once you get to that point, transitioning from a demo to a live account is going to be very seamless. Okay. Because you've built enough evidence and proof, and you've given yourself enough data points to know, hey, this works. And that's where your confidence comes from. Your confidence literally comes from the evidence that you built on your demo account. Okay. And I love a demo account. I've been on demo several times, many times. I've also gone off of a demo too quickly, and I've also stayed on a demo for too long. And you'll know based on what you've been doing or not doing. So that's a demo. Maybe that's where you are, and you've got to just take enough trades to collect enough data and review that to know this works, I work it well. Okay, I'm ready. It's not going to be a guessing game when you're ready to transition. And so the next part is you actually get to a live account, and now you're starting to execute. It's a different environment. It's not fake money, monopoly money. You guys know this. You're actually dealing with live money. And this is why you should probably start with money that you can take seriously. If you know that you're not going to take 100 hours seriously, maybe just wait until you have $200, 250, 300, whatever it is to open that live account. You put money aside to do that. Or you do start with $100 account and you just accept the fact that that's what you're starting with, but you have to accept it. It's just like with losses. Like the reason why we over leverage, or, we try to come back and make up what we lost, is because we didn't accept the loss in the first place. We didn't accept the risk. And so it's this whole domino effect. So the live account, you get to a point where you're consistent, you're really starting to like see like how you're able to compound your account. And it's not going to be rainbows and butterflies. You're going to catch on to a lot of things and a lot of your like habits and tendencies. And that's okay because the road, I was telling Alex this earlier, the road from that, first $100 account or whatever you start with to let's say 5,000. That 5,000 mark is like not necessarily a psychological mark, but it is that first like really big milestone that you will hit. And from that duration of $100 to 250 to 500 to 1,000, so on and so forth, and you get to that first 5,000, you are going to mature like rapidly. You're going to see yourself accelerate in your growth so much during that time. But I can tell you, this is the window that most people give up. This is the window that most people fail. And it's not even about anything that they thought that like, and it's not even the reason why they quit has nothing to do with the actual reason that it's not working. It's all the things that I just said. Okay. So the demo account, the live account, and getting to that first, like kind of like etch that in your head. Like that's my first goal. It's not a rush to get there. It's just maybe make that as your first mile marker. And I want to give you an example because I wrote this out earlier. So some of you guys may have saw this in the chat. I posted earlier today in the Telegram how over the last, it's basically been 4 whole weeks, okay? But if you look on the calendar, I started on the 24th and today's the 17th. So we're missing like a few days, obviously. But it's 4 consecutive weeks that I've documented my results from the scanner. And I've used this scanner for the last 8 years. Like this thing is a beast. And it's not the strategy, it just gives me an edge. It just gives me a higher probability of accuracy when it comes to my entries. But I've documented my results. And over the last 4 weeks, okay, I have grown my account, my trading account, for over 14% just from using the tool. And not just that, but having good execution and good trade management. And I'll explain to you what I mean. But I want to just give you these numbers because I think sometimes we think like success with trading is like so out of reach and so far away, or like we just kind of underestimate also like what the process looks like. And so I want you guys to have like a healthy relationship with the process. And please, for the love of God, like just never get in your head that this isn't possible. Never get to a point where you are coming down to the wire and it's like, man, I can't do this. If you get to that point, you need to reach out for help. You should have already reached out for help, but you got to reach out. Like you got to call my phone. You got to get with people in this group. I know Jake will answer your call in the middle of the night. Nah, bro, I'm just throwing you on blast. I know Dustin will answer your call. Somebody in here is going to help you rekindle that belief in that fire. Okay, but let me show you an example. 14%, 14% on a $5,000 account in the last 4 weeks with proper risk management. That's 1% risk per trade every single time. A 1 to 2 risk to reward. 1 to 2, that's it. That means 2% per win. Okay. That's $700. Now I'm only giving you this math because I want you to see like obviously 14%. We'll see how November goes. We'll see what that looks like. But I'm trying to just expand your mind. Like, what is possible when you just follow the rules? When you just take the same, like, you take every single trade the same way every single time. And we'll talk about questions in just a second. I'm almost done. But 14% on a $5,000 account, $700. And I did the math earlier on a let's say a $12,000 account. You cross that 10K mark, 14%, it's 1,600. Okay, 1,600 and change. And obviously you guys can continue. So when you look at the numbers, look at yes, this is my gain, but when I lose a trade, what is the loss that I'm accepting as you go through your process? So I want to share these last couple of things, and then we'll wrap it up with any questions, and I'll share my screen with some of these. I guess I could do it right now. I'll share my screen with you guys really quick. Okay, let me know when you guys can see this. We good? You guys can see? Okay. So this was my September, a little over 4%. And this was my October. And I'm showing you this from a tool because anybody can use a tool. and it doesn't matter which tool you use. And I know some of you guys, actually, I'll get into that in just a second. So this was my second week. I was not even a half percentage on the week. All good. On to the next. Last week, I literally only took three trades and they were all at least in the green. They were all wins. And then this week, it was literally, I only took trades on Tuesday and they were all wins except for this one. This one actually was a win, but it didn't, it was like 2 pips away from my entry. It didn't activate. But that one was also a win. And I was like, dang, that's crazy. So I'm just showing you this as documentation. And you can do this too. I have a whole trading journal where I've got screenshots of all of these trades of literally what happened before, what happened after. I'm putting my notes in there, I'm journaling, and you guys are able to do that as well. And then the last thing that I want to show you, I'm not going to go into this for very long, but has anybody ever seen this before? Or has anybody not seen this before? This thing is a game changer. If you watch, Jake, if you can remind me, I think it was this past Sunday. Yeah, this past Sunday, Mike Navarrete on the Forex side, he does his weekly psychology sessions and he goes over in detail this Excel file. That session, oh my gosh, you guys should watch it. If you have access, you need to go watch that like right away. That was I even wrote a review on it. That was one of my favorite sessions that I think he's ever done because he was so transparent. He was so practical. He was so real. And he goes through this whole thing. And I'm not going to go into the details, but you guys will be able to see the compound effect of what your account can do and also what happens when you start to deposit. This is weekly, but you can deposit monthly. And that's what I've done.
What are
My
you going
trading
crazy
account.
for?
That's what I've done with my trading account. You guys can obviously see the difference between depositing $20. This turns to not doing anything at all. The compound effect is insane. Okay. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that briefly. Harmonic scanner, it's just a tool. And I love what Patrick Kenny says. If you guys watch any of his sessions, he says the strategy has no bearing on the results. Write that down. The strategy has no bearing on the results. And I love that he said that because a lot of times what I have seen and even what I've done myself is when we don't see that something's working, we will strategy hop. But I love that he breaks it down on his session because he says because he goes over sci-fi results every single day that he goes live um, throughout the week. And he's like, I'm not here to teach you sci-fi. Okay. Sci-fi is so simple. Like a toddler could do it. That's exaggerating, but a 10-year-old could do it. Okay. He's like, I'm not here to teach you sci-fi. You can do this with any strategy. I'm here to tell you and show you what happens when you lose more than you win and you can still be profitable. Why? Because of your execution and your trade management. It's consistent. But this, so he says the strategy has no bearing on the results. The strategy is just an edge. It just increases your probabilities. And that's why you take every trade. So with the scanner, just as an example, I've set my rules. So here's my rules. I only take trades on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Why? Because that works for my schedule. I don't have to trade every day. I'm taking trades on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and I'm only taking trades on the 4 hour time frame. That's it. Why did I choose 4 hour time frame? Because on the 1 hour, they're pumping out like 13, 15 trades a week. I don't want to be in that many trades. I want to take 3 to 5 trades a week. So I do the 4 hour. And so those are my parameters. 1% risk per trade and a 1 to 2 risk to reward as my target. That's what I do. And I take the trade no matter what. I set pending orders, and I realize that majority of the time the trades, I can see that the chart pops up on New York session and then Asian session in the afternoon. And so I just take the trade. And if I miss the trade, I document it as well. I missed this entry, maybe because I was asleep, and that's okay. But the biggest thing is you got to do the same thing every time. That's what I'm trying to just get over everybody's heads on this call tonight. And Mike Navarrete said, I'm not going to be able to find it. I think I might have deleted it. But I remember he did a session one time, and here it is. His session was about revenge trading. And he said, what's the point of winning if it's not duplicatable? What's the point of winning if you don't know how to replicate what you just did? If you don't know how to repeat the result that you just got by the actions that you just took. There's no point in winning. I know people that they get into their trading account and they press buy 10 times and it's they caught 5 pips and they call it a win. I'm like, what did you even do to get that win, right? Or they over leverage to flip their account. It's like that's not lasting. So you guys hopefully get what I'm saying with this. The last One of the last things I'll mention, and then I'll stop the recording. If you guys have any questions, we can go over it. Is this? I love this concept of what Patrick Kinney talks about, and he said the reason why we fail in trading, one of the reasons, main reasons, is because we create variables, is what he said. We create these variables, and these variables are us, us saying, oh, it's NFP, it's Friday, it's news, I'm not going to take this trade. Or, it is Friday, but I only trade Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But I see this setup and it feels good. It looks good. I just think it's going to go my way. So I'm gonna take the trade. You're going against your plan, man. What are we doing? Or, oh, this is another one. Or, I'm looking at this setup and man, this just feels like it's going to go my way. So I'm going to risk more. No, do not do that. It's the same dang thing every single time. And I hope I set somebody free with this, but I used to think my strategy was the reason I won or lost. Nope. That's why we strategy hop. My strategy is not the reason why I win or lose. My strategy gives me an edge that gives me a higher probability, but it was my execution and my trade management, doing it consistently every single time. That's what allows me to win. The strategy is my edge. It increases my probability of success over time, but it's not the end all be all. I'm not holding my strategy on a pedestal. My success, your success long term is going to come down to how well and how consistent you execute and manage your trade. Risk management, risk to reward. Risk management, risk to reward. You got to know the charts. You got to know how to, technical analysis. You got to understand those basic things. But at the end of the day, this is a lot more simple, I think, than we make it. I think we overcomplicate it. You really have to just be consistent. If you're doing a 1 to 2 risk to reward, you can be 40% accurate and still be profitable. Those results that I just showed you from the scanner, just for the month of October, I've taken 13 trades for this month. I've won 9 and I've lost 4. I'm 69% accurate and I'm profitable. And it's not because I'm trying to hit home runs. It's not because I'm over leveraging. It's not any of that. You guys get my point, right? I feel like I'm a little redundant right now, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's just I'm doing the same thing, and I hope that you get that. Leaving this call here tonight is just doing the same
Yeah.
thing. And you
Yeah.
have to find a time, like you have to find a time of when you're going to actually trade. And I think one of the biggest downfalls for people is they don't have they don't have a trade management system set up for themselves to win. There's too many things that we need to do, and it's not allowing you to actually have success. Like I get by this last thing I'll say, I promise. When I take trades, and I've learned this all from Mike Navarrete, I've learned this all from people like Patrick Kinney and even Jay Awal. Jay Awal is amazing. I got to get my hands out of the pot. I got to remove myself as much as possible. That's why I set pending limits and I use a trailing stop loss. That's just me because I don't want any emotional, like, just influence on my trading and my decision making. I want everything to be so automated, if you will, and I'm just following my plan. I'm just following my plan. On to the next. So that's what I wanted to share with you guys, and hopefully you get the gist of the title. Trading success is duplicatable because it's just doing the same thing over and over and over again for years. And you build over the next 3 to 5 years, you build a multiple 5 figure, if not 6 figure trading account. And then you're able to take your profits from that account and deploy it into your investments, put it into your crypto projects or whatever it is. Or Patrick Kenny said, when you have 250,000, go call me. He was like, call me and I will literally tell you what to do with the money. And I was like, that's my next goal, man. Like, that's what I want to do. So, okay, guys, that is the call. I'm going to stop the recording real quick.